Yo, what's going on, everyone? I am Black Amora. You might already know me, but this is Gabby Cook, a brand new face, and she is just as much a gamer as I am, maybe even more. We haven't quite ironed out our Uncharted beef, but lock in for the next Power Hour, where we're going to discuss the silver anniversary of the PS2, our favorite games, our favorite memories, and a whole lot more. Keep it locked to the next hour of the
Streamcast.
Yo, what's going on? My special guest is Gabby. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
All right. Do you want to talk a little bit about your gaming experience? Maybe your first ever game?
I mean, I can, although I think I have to context my gaming. I was going to call it a career. It's not really a career. I don't do it as a career. My
I
gaming
call it a
life,
career.
I guess. Yeah, but you actually stream. I don't. So. My gaming life, because the reason I think I am a nerd and proud and a gamer is all thanks to my family, who are massive tech nerds. My older brother, as Andy knows, I've told him many times, but for the viewers, is the biggest gamer I've ever known. He owns and has owned every single console, basically, to ever exist. And as a result, as a kid, we used to play games together, which got me into gaming. Obviously, as a little girl, you want to play with your Barbies and your brats and your dolls' houses. But I remember he got his PlayStation 1, and that kicked off my obsession as well. So it's been a long time.
I feel like we've been gaming for as long as each other has been. Like,
Exactly.
PS1 is very early on in our careers,
Yep.
but it's a mainstay, a cornerstone. And without the PS1, you don't get the PS2, which
No,
we're
which
here
is what we're here
to
for
talk
today.
about. That's right. I can't remember which day it is, but I'm pretty sure it's in November. In 2000, the PS2 came out, and it changed the game literally.
That is wild.
25
You know
years
what's funny?
later?
I'm not going to say my age. People can guess if they want. I don't remember the PlayStation 2 coming out at the age that I was. I feel like I was older. But no, clearly not, because the math isn't mathing. But I remember the PlayStation 1 and the 2, so
Math isn't mathing, but I don't see now looking back at stuff as an adult, it's so clear why it changed the game as much as it did. Whereas, in real time, we would have just been kids. So, like, we wouldn't have truly grasped what was happening, what we were consuming.
yeah.
So, like, these lines going out, stretching out with people camping for days and people going, oh, I'm getting the PS2 because it can play DVDs and stuff. And, like, that being, so cutting edge.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
then
people.
for it to go on, yeah.
No, I was going to say people didn't have. People had video players and DVD players until the PlayStation 2 came out, and then most people just bought a PlayStation 2 to have as their DVD player. Same with when the PS3 came out. People weren't buying Blu-ray players; they were buying a PS3 because it was also a Blu-ray player.
Yeah. And I think that's just using your noggin. Like,
exactly.
I do feel like PlayStation had a lot to. They didn't start from square one because of Sony, so they had that already in terms of like tech. But that's so true. Like, I remember having a DVD player and a VHS.
Old school, yeah.
I just about know what a cassette is.
Wait, are you younger than me? I think you are. We won't mention ages. I'm just going to assume that you're younger than me.
if we went to school, we'd be in the same class. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay. Right then. All right.
Yeah.
Go back. Sorry. I was like, I definitely know what a cassette player is. So where have you been?
I can.
Anyway, moving on. We're talking about PlayStation.
Look. 2% of my viewership think I'm young. All right, I'm here to write that line.
And you are. So just pretend that you're younger than I am.
Thank you. Lost my point. Doesn't matter. The PS2 has sold over, I think it's 160 million copies.
Question: is it still the best-selling console of all time, or has it been overtaken?
It's still the best-selling of all time. The Switch is creeping up. It's on 155-ish. which has overtaken the DS to now become the second outright all time. So I
Wow,
know
okay.
Sony are looking for some PS2s they haven't accounted for, sold to some cartel somewhere back in
Black market.
2003. Yeah. We actually sold 60 million more PS2s, so we're actually at 220. I don't, whatever. It's still the best-selling console of all time to date.
That speaks volumes. The fact that it came out 25 years ago and it's still the best-selling console and the best-selling PlayStation is just, I mean, it's wild, isn't it?
It does really put things into perspective, especially when you consider the PlayStation was meant to launch a joint console with Nintendo.
Oh, was it? I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's a whole. So Nintendo and PlayStation went into business together, and they were going to make a console, and it was going to run on discs because Nintendo used cartridges. They still use cartridges. And then essentially Nintendo got cold feet and went along with Philips and betrayed Sony and embarrassed.
Right.
We're like, right, fuck it, we'll do it ourselves. And they made their own console. And the PS1 obviously shattered the Nintendo 64, and they were like, all right,
there we go.
It stays.
And what is Philips famous for now? Lights?
Nothing. Niche. Sitting around
Missed out.
doing niche. While Sony's out here making moves. PS5. It's also going to be the PS5's 5th birthday this month, and we'll get to that later
weird.
On.
Yeah, we'll get on that. That is weird to think about, though.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it feels like it's only 3 years old.
It does. And also, they were talking about PlayStation 6 like last year.
Yes, yeah, we've actually covered that in an earlier episode this year. There's a lot of rumors. There's a lot of flirtation about the PS6. There's a lot of, can hardware improve that much to at this point? Are we just doing ourselves a disservice? What is the PS6's USP going to be?
Yeah. Is it all marketing? As someone that works in marketing, is it all marketing?
I didn't know if you wanted to talk about what you did, but yeah, you're a marketing expert.
I mean, yeah, I my normal job is marketing manager for like an events company. But that does not cross over into my personal life. I don't really do marketing outside of work. I come home and I like to game, which is why I'm here. That's
it. That's the more interesting side. But I mean, obviously you DJ as well.
Yes, viewers, I'm a very good DJ. If Spotify counts, I'm a great DJ.
Yeah, of course. Spotify is a market leader.
Exactly.
And there's someone who's a marketing expert.
Need an asterisk next to DJ. Gabby the DJ asterisk. Yeah. It's my title.
So, as today's episode is about the PS2.
Yes.
What is your first memory of that console?
Oh, so like I said, my older brother got his PlayStation 1, whatever year it was. And there's a video that my parents still show me where he opens his PlayStation 1 and I open a doll's house and I don't know what the PlayStation 1 is. And I'm just like, oh, look, he got that. Isn't it that he got that? And I'm screaming about my doll's house. And then I vaguely remember playing on the PlayStation 1. The PS2, he then got for Christmas, a couple of years later. And by that point, I was probably developed in the brain enough to understand what games were. We used to sit and we used to play all sorts of games. I'm trying to think of one that comes to mind, like Medal of Honor Rising Sun, because I remember looking at that earlier. That was a game that I remember specifically playing co-op, and we had them like multi-tab. So I used to play it with my older brother and then his mates. And then I was very fortunate enough that because my brother is a massive gamer, the PlayStation 2 Slim came out. And so he bought... rewind. There was a limited edition PlayStation 2 Ice Blue, which if you Google it, it's a gorgeous color. He bought that, or he got that gifted to him. And so I got his old black PlayStation 2. And that was technically my first PlayStation console. And I loved it. There's a shelf still in my room at home, which is no longer my room. It's my little brother's room. But I still have a shelf of all of my PlayStation 2 games on it because I was obsessed. That started it.
And now you can't stop. Love that.
And now I can't stop. And I actually
Okay.
realized earlier, fun fact, this I hope this doesn't come across the wrong way, but the only console that I have ever bought PlayStation wise, the only console that I have ever bought for myself has been a PlayStation 4. The 2, 3, and 5 I have very kindly been gifted for Christmas or birthdays or whatever. PlayStation 4 is the only console I've ever bought, and I'd hardly play it anymore. So what does that say?
I think that it shows that you know the value of money and you don't want to wear that thing out.
Yeah, exactly. But my PlayStation 2, I will proudly go home even now and get it out, or try and find the remake or the PlayStation Store version of that PS2 game. I'm not letting them die.
I think that there's a really big reason to that. Obviously, we spoke about a lot of the other aspects like the DVD player and that, but I do think back then we had more people making games who just wanted to tell an interesting story.
Yeah, it was just fun.
Fun was the main factor as opposed to graphics and FPS and hitting that one game a year quota that you see with a lot of modern games. Someone said it. Not too many weirdos are making games nowadays, and it shows. I think PS2 games, especially that era of gaming, you had a lot of unique games where not every game was a hit. Not every game was an IGN certified 7 out of 10 banger, but you could have a fun time with them.
People were making games for the fun of making games, and they were making games to be enjoyed by all ages rather than like your key demographic. So a lot of the games that I have fond memories of are like family games. They would be in the category of family games. But compared to a family game now per se, they still had a good story. They still had good gameplay. They still had good like look and feel. They weren't just, oh, a kid needs a game, so let's give them, I don't know, some character that runs around in circles for 3 hours. It had a story to it. So even though I couldn't play Grand Theft Auto, for example, I was still playing a game that was still just as well thought out and developed just for my age group.
Perfectly said. So on that,
yes.
What are some of your favorite PS2 games?
So we're going to go a bit obscure, and I'm sure there are some people that have heard of them. And if you have not, I invite you to search these out and watch playthrough or find them in a store, whatever. My number one game of all time, and actually Andy knows this because I introduced him to it. I don't know if he's ever played it, but I introduced him to the music. Is Gitaru Man, which is a Japanese rhythm game. It's really hard to describe. You play a character called Hero. Play on word. It's Hiro, but you are the hero. Who aliens attack Earth, and there's bosses that you have to defeat in order to save the world. But your acoustic guitar transforms into an electric guitar that can battle these enemies. And your dog turns into a talking robotic dog who guides you through these levels. All very weird. As Japanese games are, they're very weird and wonderful. And you essentially, it's a rhythm game where you have to like follow a channel, use the analog stick, press the button, and there are battle zones where it's like quick time press button things. But the soundtrack is exquisite. I forgot the game existed for a little while and then re-listened to the soundtrack. I think it must have been a couple of weeks ago, and have been obsessed to the point where I now have Clone Hero on my laptop, and it was the first songs that I played. If anyone needs a recommendation, listen to Flying to Your Heart first. Best song in the game. Super hard game. I never completed master mode up until the very end of the game, but it is so much fun. Easily number one. And the only people that I know have heard of it is my brother.
Yeah, I remember us having that conversation about that game, and I was like, what are you talking about? But when I listened to the soundtrack, it was really good. And that song in particular, there's another one as well. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's on my YouTube playlist. Bangers. And I love games that really take a risk. Like how many games out there where you use the guitar to fight enemies. And like you even said something like, "Oh, this is the first time I've heard this song properly." Because when you hit a bum note, the song
Yep.
sounds a bit
It
shit.
distorts the song.
Yeah, which is great mechanics.
Yep. Really, really fun. And I'm not going to reenact it over microphone, but the opening sequence for the game is a rather suggestive noise, and then a woman saying "Gitaru man." And then when you fail a level, she also says "game over" in a rather suggestive way. So I mean, if you're into that, there's that too.
I should have prepared those for this episode.
Yes, you could have done a little soundbite.
Yeah.
It's all right.
I
The
need the
audience
views,
can
man.
go and listen to it.
Yeah, look it up in your own time, Gitaru man.
Yeah, easily number one. Easily number one. And there's a small community of us that would like it to be remade or remastered or even just put back on the PlayStation Store. But considering the Reddit forum for us, for Gitaru Man, sorry, is about 300 people, I highly doubt that's going to happen. But it's still a very fun memory.
Yeah.
I'm waiting. I'll wait.
That might be a long wait.
Yeah.
I will talk about one of my games. So, Gabby has some time to think of some new games.
Yes. Hearing it.
So, actually, doing
Mhm.
research for this, I realized that I've already covered this with my original co-host Isaac. We spoke about some PS2 games that I enjoyed, and I don't think that's really changed. So, I will talk about SmackDown. Here Comes the Pain. It's the best wrestling game of all time. Please argue with your nan or argue with Cody Rhodes. I don't care about SmackDown versus Raw or any of its 13 cousins. This is the best wrestling game of all time. Someone has just found out. So you know when you do the people's elbow as The Rock and he throws
Yes.
his elbow pads into the crowd. There's I think a mod that if you play as Lita and you do that move, she literally throws her clothes into the crowd, which
Okay.
is crazy. Crazy.
All the
And
modding community.
because there's bra and panties matches in the game already, and the game hasn't aged well. The game hasn't aged well. I refuse
many
to
have, don't
play
worry.
that mode. But I just found it so chaotic, like Gitaru Man's concept, right? But the fact that you could do all sorts of shit, like fight backstage, you could fight on the stage. You know, the old SmackDown fist where they used to like fisting.
Yeah.
There was a fist on the stage.
Grab a chair.
Grab a chair, grab a table. You could fight on the fist. You could fight on the street. I don't know if this game will shut your mouth, the game before it, but you could climb up the helicopter and jump down and do a diving elbow on your opponent. Just
my God.
wacky, crazy shit. And while I was replaying Here Comes the Pain this year, one of the few games that mechanically has aged well, I got a bit reminded of D&D, of like improv and yes and hey, if you do this crazy stuff, you get rewarded for it. And the more wacky, the more risk you take, the more fulfilled that you are in your career mode, in your campaign, shall we say. So I had a blast playing that game again. And it reminded me that it was worth it getting in trouble all of those times growing up because I wouldn't listen to my parents because I was playing Here Comes the Pain. It was worth it.
I don't remember which SmackDown game we had. I don't think it was Here Come the Pain because I don't remember jumping out of a helicopter. But one of the SmackDown games is on my list because I loved creating a character that looked weird as anything and then fighting my brother and always winning. Little brother, bear in mind, not the older one, but always winning. Older brother, no chance.
That's just the way it is when you're growing up.
Yeah.
That being said, you can create Goku in Here Comes the Pain.
Great.
You can't create a realistic looking black man or black woman, but you can create an anime character.
To be fair, though, a lot of games are still struggling with that. Because if you want orange, go ahead. If you want black,
I don't know, mate. It's a bit woke for me. Don't like politics in my games. So, Gabby, please hit me with another game on your
yes,
list.
hang on. I was
I'm
actually
enjoying this.
thinking, and I wasn't.
No, all good.
I have quite a few actually. But next on the list, we're going to do another weird one before we do a classic. Dog's Life. This is another one that I remember showing you because you hadn't played it.
Okay,
and yes,
I don't mean to cut you off, but I will preface this by saying I thought Gabby was making this up. I thought Gabby made this game up when she first told me this. Please continue.
I mean, it does sound like a fever dream. But there are more fans than Gittery Man of Dog's Life, because on the many forums that I've looked at of people rating their top obscure PS2 games, Dog's Life does come up a lot. But Dog's Life, I remember back in the day when you used to get PlayStation magazines and they came with a disc, and on that disc was like 6 or 7 demos for games that were going to be released, and that's how you decided if you were going to buy a game. Trailers, yeah, they're fun. They didn't really show anything, and also we didn't have all these what do you call them, like oh my god, thank you. Could not think of the word. Didn't have those things. So we didn't know what was coming unless you were playing the demo. And I played the demo for Dog's Life, and I was like, I need this game. I love dogs, first of all, but I needed a game because the demo was you had to follow a smell trail through this farmyard, and then you had to chase off this other dog, and then you had to go and sniff your female companion's butt. And I was like, this seems like a fun game because it's not a shooting game and it's not an average game. I want to play this. So pre-ordered it, went down to Game, picked it up on the day. I remember handing over my £20 note. It was £20. Imagine a game for £20. Handed over my £20 note and took it home. And I highly recommend everyone to play it because Dog's Life is as described, dog simulator. You play as a dog. You don't play as a human at any point. And your female companion on the farm gets kidnapped by the dog canned food people. Imagine Chicken Run, where they make the chickens into food, but dogs, and they're making the dogs into dog food. Weird concept, but your companion gets kidnapped by these people, and you have to go through all of these levels to save her. You go up a mountain, you go through a farmhouse, you go through town, there's little missions, you got to follow snaps, like smell trail. I keep wanting to call them a snail trail. I mean a smell trail. It is weird as fuck, but so much fun, and therefore needs to be second on my list.
Okay, I mean, it still sounds. No. Okay.
Yeah.
It is a perfect description of the PS2 era because a game where you play as a dog and you have to sniff your companion's butt, I think would do very well in 2025. To be,
we don't have enough weird games. We said it earlier.
True. It's
We've got a lot of very well crafted story, super high fidelity graphic games that look amazing. They play amazing. They're based on mythology or they're based on ancient times. They look great. They are great. They're good games. Where's the weird stuff? I need a weird thing in my life. And that is Gittery Man and Dog's Life.
Too many shareholders, not enough weird artists.
Exactly.
Who love this stuff. Making games for the pure love of the game, not trying to sell 1 billion copies, not delaying their game a whole year. I'm not hurt.
Honorable mention. I'm not going to go into depth on this one because everyone's heard of this one, but honorable mention on the slightly weird games that went a little bit more mainstream is the Herbs, Sims in the City.
Of course. Because
why was there a game made where the Black Eyed Peas were the main characters? Who thought of that?
First of all, why not?
I mean, there is
that was their time. That was their era.
But I think that fits nicely into the category of weird and wonderful, but can go mainstream.
I think that game did really well in terms of like mainstream appeal. I remember a lot of people talking about it in the playground. Yeah, it was very popular.
Yeah,
absolutely. So
Dog's Life
and Guitar Man.
Yep. Do you have another one before I bring it back to normality a little bit?
I do have another one. I will go with The Simpsons Hit and Run.
Classic.
Absolute classic. I'm actually streaming it right now on my personal channel. I think the next stream should be tomorrow. I got past a very difficult mission. I almost crashed out as a not in his 20s gentleman. I almost threw the controller at the TV. I almost
Good
lifted
PS2
the
memories.
mic and slammed the mic. It was very annoying. Got there in the end. Sorry, let me talk about the game. Really good game. That has not aged as well as many people think. And what I realize is many people who talk about the game speak about it so highly,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't remember the jank. They don't remember the glitches. They don't remember the poor driving in the game
Yes.
by other people who cut in lanes for no reason. Driving doesn't work like that.
My biggest gripe with that game was always the fact that you get the boxes of Buzz with the wasp on top.
Yes.
Every time I try and hit the wasp, it stings me. I die. Doesn't matter which angle or where I'm going. It just automatically glitches me out and I'm dead.
Because there's no lock on, so you have to jump and hope.
Yeah,
hope you
jump
get
and
it.
just swing your leg and hope you manage to hit something.
Keep kicking.
Yeah,
keep kicking. There are 3 missions that I've come across in that game that were very hard, and I don't remember how I beat them. I don't know. I didn't have other things to worry about at the time, so I guess I just stood there all day playing the game until I beat it. But yeah,
we were kids. What else were we doing?
Exactly. We didn't have responsibilities. We had school. But I do think they captured the chaos of what a Simpsons game should be.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you do a simulation, it's just boring. I think if you go too far into GTA, you lose the family crowd. And I think that was very imperative for them. So I think that Hit and Run is a perfect mix of the violence and the chaos of what Simpsons should be, a gag show in effect. I don't think that game should be remastered anymore, having played it. But I do think it should be remade from the ground up, or better yet, just make a new Simpsons driving game, because it would probably be better than Hit and Run.
Have you seen that they have made, I believe it's a modded game, I don't believe it's an official thing, a Futurama Hit and Run?
I have
based on the Simpsons Hit and Run game. Maybe that's a playthrough to do.
That if they make that game, I will buy it and I will stream it.
There we go.
Yeah, I've never lied on camera. So please
careful.
Please make that game. I'd love a Futurama game. I think I want to say a new Futurama series would work, but I don't know. People's habits have changed. But Futurama was ahead of its time because it was meant for adults, but like adults weren't watching cartoons back then, and we were
we didn't understand those adult jokes. It's fine.
Yeah, Futurama would definitely go down well right now. So I talk about Hit and Run. Are you bringing us back to normality, Gabby?
I am. Well, it's still a weird game, but it is one that I feel like more people have played and maybe wouldn't consider to be weird. It's more just a classic, and that is Time Splitters 2. Time Splitters 2 has a very, very, very fond place in my heart because this was one of those games that I used to play with my older brother consistently. I think we played every single level on story, both easy, medium, and hard, all the way through together. And then we would go on the multiplayer and use the multi-tab. I think at this point, my little brother was able to play games as well. So had the multi-tab for the 3 of us. And we wouldn't just do like a normal shooting. We'd either do the Tommy gun in the 1920s level, or we'd do jungle, where we'd all play monkeys and we'd have full monkey cast for the computers, and your only weapon was a proximity mine. Because why would you just want to shoot with a pistol? It's more fun seeing monkeys run around everywhere and turn mini version and speed on. So you're like whipping past people, just chucking mines. So much fun. They did actually release Time Splitters 2 and Future Perfect on the PlayStation Store for you to download on the PS5. I did not, but my brother did. So the last time I went home, we all played together, and that was a real nostalgia trip. It is still as weird and a little bit janky on the PS5, but that's the charm of it. Yeah. yeah, absolutely loved it as a game. Always have, always will, and honestly might see if it's still on the PlayStation Store for cheap and just get it and play it tonight.
Love that. My memories of Time Splitters 2 are very few, but I remember enjoying that game as well as a kid, and I think I might be confusing it with Time Crisis here. I think Time Crisis is the one I played in
Time Crisis,
arcade.
also a classic.
Yeah, Crisis I played in the arcades. Splitters was on the PS2, but the fact that the library was thousands of games and you could just get lost in so many of them. Beautiful console, beautiful time. I will talk about Dragon Ball Z now. And that might be the end of
You
the
were like,
podcast.
how do I bring it back?
No, not well, we're on topic. We're on point.
Okay, right. Yeah.
I want a bit of a bounce back. So yeah, we'll go with Budokai 2. Dragon Ball Z Budokai 2, which was the first anime game that I played where I realized, oh, anime games can be good. Oh, okay, cool. Because before that, I played a game called Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories on the PS1, which I couldn't understand because it didn't follow the rules of Yu-Gi-Oh! So I was like, this game's broken. The music's good though. Got rid of that. And then I played a game called Dragon Ball Final Bout on the PS1, which is one of the worst games I've ever played in my life. It's a certified 3 out of 10, but I have to play it again. I might be inaccurate, but I remember it being shit. I remember it looking shit. I remember the music being good though.
Hey, a good soundtrack is sometimes all you need from a game.
I'll forgive it. And I saw Goku on the cover, so I was like, I'm gonna make this work. I'm going to like this game. I'm gonna force myself to like this game. It was terrible, but some years later, I played Budokai 2, which was an actual good Dragon Ball game. And it vaguely follows the story of Dragon Ball Z. So if you've watched the anime, you know what's going on. But if you haven't watched the anime, I would recommend you not play that game as your introduction to anime games because it doesn't follow the anime. But it takes liberties. And the story mode is played on the board game, which is kind of cool. Ooh. And you have, so you're Goku and you pick your allies, and then the enemies are also on the board, and you could pick up buffs, you can pick up Dragon Balls, and you can land on certain spaces which have certain gimmicks, like you can't block or you lose health as you're on this space. So it keeps the game fresh. And I really enjoyed the story mode, and I was shocked when I looked back as an adult and realized that a lot of people didn't like this game because it wasn't the story, it wasn't the main story mode. So I thought that was kind of weird, but I really enjoyed it. It also had a lot of what if fusions. So it had Goku and Hercule fusing, which was a gag that they pulled in the show, which we didn't see because that would have been a disaster. And you also see Tien and Yamcha fuse, which is a canon waste of time because they're two of the weakest characters. And then you also see what if absorptions with Super Buu absorbing like other villains. So it's a real what if adventure into the already established universe. And then I could go into Budokai 3 as well, but I don't want to talk about Dragon Ball Z for too long. I was
going to say, most of that went straight over my head because I had never watched Dragon Ball, but I was nodding along.
I appreciate it.
You nodded along with Gisaru, man. I'll nod along to Dragon Ball, don't worry.
What about you? What other games are on your list of memorable
memories? I thought of two things. One game and then one that isn't on my favorite list, but is a good conversation topic. We'll get onto that. First is I think the reason that I got into the Uncharted series and the reason that the Uncharted series is one of my favorite PlayStation series of all time. Shame on you for never having played them. I had to mention it in case your viewers didn't know. And that is Prince of Persia. Prince of Persia 1, 2, and 3. 3 is not as good, but 1 and 2. Sands of Time, I think, is 1, and then Warrior Within, I think, is what 2 is called. No, that's 3. I don't remember what 2 is called. They are basically the original Uncharted, and they did try to remake it, I think, for the PS4 and create a new game, and it absolutely flopped, so we don't mention that. But the first 2 we'll talk about, because they are classic PS2 games. They were, I mean, people can correct me if I'm wrong, but the first sort of I don't know what you call them, like adventure, climbing up walls, rope swinging, all of those think Indiana Jones, but obviously not Indiana Jones, those sort of games that we got where it wasn't just like a little 2D character on a screen. You were fully 3D. It was a whole immersive world. It wasn't open world, but it was an immersive world. And the plot of 1 and 2, I guess, is that you have the sands of time, so you can slow down time when you fight enemies. So rather than just being like, oh, let's go explore this amazing world and then dagger some enemies and then you go to another world, you could slow down time, meaning you could have all these special moves that you did towards enemies, and even with bosses, they'd try and attack you, you could slow down time and go behind their back. And those are still mechanics that you get in games now. Like slowing down time, slowing bullet time, all of this stuff. Oh, I'm not saying it didn't exist before Prince of Persia, but in my head, Prince of Persia was one of the more mainstream games that maybe introduced it. And yeah, like those mechanics you still see now, the slowing down time, the action, the climbing, all the joke being that the AAA games all have you and your character like going through a crack. You know how all AAA games, yeah. Prince of Persia had that, so I guess that was a AAA game, right? Yeah, if you've not played it and you've not heard of it, then I don't know where you've been, and don't think you can call yourself a PlayStation fan, but on my list. I like doing this because most of the games I name you don't know.
I thought we agreed you weren't going to do that.
It's really fun calling out people.
So,
not played Prince of Persia, not played Uncharted, right? Yeah,
I have played Prince of Persia. I will say.
Okay, all right. I'll give you that.
The first Prince of Persia game I played was on the PS3, but I have always known about the franchise. I don't know. I just never picked one up. I think growing up, I had to choose which game I got, so I always went with something I thought was going to be a safe bet. So I went with The Simpsons, or I went with Dragon Ball. I went with something that I recognized.
I mean, to be fair, I was picking Simpsons and Dog's Life and Herbs and all of that stuff. My older brother was picking Prince of Persia and Eve of Extinction. That was another one on my list that I forgot was a game that existed. I don't think anyone's heard of that. All of these sorts of games. So I didn't pick them, didn't know what they were, but I could go into his room and be like, oh, what's this? I'll go play this. So you're forgiven.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's very cool that to see a lot of the modern day mechanics that have been lauded and is almost expected in video games nowadays, you can trace back to Prince of Persia. I think that generation, especially the one before and the one before that, you can attribute a lot of modern gaming's, I guess, maverickness. I don't know if that's the word. To a lot of games back then, you know, the 90s and noughties, where people really thought outside the box, and there was the necessary technology to at least carry out that vision to an acceptable degree. So slowing down time and all of that stuff is a lot of cool things that you expect to see today. Like you said, fitting through cracks. Oh, every adventure game right now. So it's very cool to see Prince of Persia coming back as well, because they released a very good game. I think it was last year, The Lost Crown.
Okay. I've not played that.
It's a very good game. A throwback to the original side-scrolling Prince of Persia kind of presentation. And I know there's a real desire to get Prince of Persia back into the mainstream. I know this is a PS2 discussion, not a PS3 one, but I do want to shout out that the 2008 game, I want to say, is just called Prince of Persia, which is not helpful. But there's
like
this really
that called that.
Yeah. There's this very American presenting Persian prince, like it just yaps, but very cool. He befriends, I guess, a princess, and they have to set light back to the world because there are these two gods. One's a good one and one's an evil one, and the evil one's awakened, and now the world's in shit.
Yeah.
And I remember there's this one part. It's kind of a spoiler for the game if you haven't played it, but it's like 20 years old, so sorry, we're gonna do it. There's this one bit which, yeah, there's this one bit that I always appreciated where you're trapped, and I guess you're fighting one of the four bosses, the concubine, and she has transformed into the female partner that you're with, and she's just all over the stage, and you're like trying to work out which one of her is real. And I was getting rattled. I was like losing my shit because I'm pretty sure I hit all of them. I was like, then none of them are real. So exasperated, I thought, you know what? I'm going to jump off the platform, die, and correct the game to the point where I can find out which one of these is real. Not realizing that that was what the game actually wanted you to do. So I jumped off the platform. Yeah. And this girl has a power where she can just save you from dying. And there's dialogue to the effect of, why did you do something so stupid? And he goes, well, I figured you'd save me. Cool.
Clever.
No logic.
Clever. And to be honest, on that, honorable mention to all those games. I know it's not just it's a PlayStation thing. They're obviously across all those consoles. Honorable mention to games that have a twist, or they use the console, or they like use you outside of the game. So I know Metal Gear Solid is famous for having one. I haven't played it, so don't quote me on what game it's in. But I know Metal Gear Solid at one point, they talk about you as a character. Sorry, talk about you as a gamer rather than Snake. And then obviously another famous one is, I'm not going to be able to remember the name of it. It's a 2D game that everyone loves. Used to be on Nintendo. The main character is that guy in the cap that you can play on Smash Bro. I've brought it up and I can't remember the name. Anyway, the mechanic of like, they're talking to me and I have to like unplug my game, or I have to take the game console out, or I have to put the memory card in, and that is how you progress. It's similar to you jumping off a platform to kill yourself thinking, I'm going to have to restart, and actually that's part of the game.
I'm annoyed that I don't know who this is.
Yeah. And I'm sure there's someone that's like, it's
yeah.
But
obviously.
Right now, cannot think.
It used to be on Nintendo.
Yeah, really old school Nintendo game, and the character is in Smash Bro. And it's a 2D game with a black background, and there's a Bones character in it. This is all very vague.
Banjo?
No. It's all right. It might come to me as we go.
Yeah,
but yeah, sorry. Just on that point of like fun elements of a game that aren't necessarily like part of the story.
No, fair. No, that is. I do appreciate that, and I've experienced more recent examples of that in God of War Ragnarok. There's a part in the game very early on where you're fighting Thor, and he just kills you. Just kills you, and you get the game over screen, and in a lot of modern games you get tips when you die, so it's like use L1 to block time your so there's that. I'm pissed. I'm like, okay, but that scene of the tips is interrupted because Thor resurrects you with the Mjolnir, and you realize you didn't actually die. It was part of the game all along, and I think that is so clever to pay off that weird mechanic from over 2 games and 7 years of work. Very cool.
So there was a point that I was gonna make about something that you said, and then I zoned out because you were talking about God of War Ragnarok, and then I was thinking of other things. But the other thing that I was going to talk about earlier that I think is funny is every single console has always tried to release extras. So a camera, you've got the PlayStation Move, you've got the PlayStation Virtual, all of that stuff. The PlayStation 2 also had a camera, and that was iToy. Did you ever play iToy?
No, but I knew what it was. I was aware of its existence.
I mean, I think it flopped on a general scale, but me and my family had every single game and the camera. And we also, you mentioned Time Crisis earlier, we also had a Time Crisis gun that was an attachment into the PlayStation 2. So we didn't even need the arcade. We played it at home. Great.
Nice.
But I have a feeling, and obviously I may be wrong, that the iToy wasn't as unsuccessful as I think it was. And maybe a bit as was an example of a add-on to a console that didn't flop. Because we all know a lot of add-ons flop badly. Yeah.
Sorry, I was just looking it up. 10.5 million sales. So not too bad.
See, actually not that bad.
It's not bad. I wouldn't say it was an overall success. I wouldn't say it was like the Connect or anything, you know.
No.
But yeah, I think a lot of when it comes to like business, a lot of it is circumstantial. A lot of it is it the right product? Is it the right time? Are consumers ready for it? We'd come to see later that there is a market for that kind of thing, but I think definitely for my household, we were just like, no, just give me the games, man. All of this extra stuff, you're confusing us.
Time and a place, and the way it's marketed, and the games that you release for these add-ons. So don't just create a extra piece of equipment for people to buy, and then say, oh, you can use it with a game that already exists, because no one's going to bother. Why would you bother?
Exactly.
And I did think about the thing that I was going to mention. You mentioned like tips on a loading screen. And I thought back to the PlayStation 2, and I was like, that was the era where that wasn't a thing. If you needed help in a game, you had to go and buy a book in a store. Like W.H. Smith, you go and buy a cheap book or a guidebook. If you were failing a game or a level, that was it. You just had to keep trying until you got there. There was no, here's a tip to complete it. There was no, here, like, lower your difficulty because you failed it 5 times. None of these modern mechanics that I think have trained us to more... I think it's more we now just play the game to play the game. Obviously, there are some games that people do play to beat. But a lot of games are, I play the game to complete the game, not necessarily to beat it. Whereas games, like a lot of PlayStation 2 games, because they were really difficult and there was no way of getting around the fact they were really difficult, that was a challenge. You wanted to beat that game. Like Simpsons Hit and Run. Not even a typical game that you'd think would need to be beaten. You'd think, oh, I'll just play it and then I'll finish it. No, the levels were hard. And there was no way to get around the fact that the levels were hard other than just playing it over and over and over and over again.
You're 100% correct. Getting good, some might say.
Yeah.
Or we had manuals. We had thick manuals. And I would read them because they would literally tell you how to play the game. And sometimes they add lore to the game as well. I really appreciate that. But you are right. Other than, for me, it was talking to people in the playground. So at school, at lunchtime, it'd be like, are you playing this game? All right, cool. So I'm stuck on this level. How do you beat it? And that was literally it. And there were a lot of lies. There were a lot of people lying. Not just about games, about celebrities as well. There was a lot of people lying about... There was a lot of people lying about stuff, but you'd have to work things out. Oh, come to my house, I've got this game. Yeah, we can play it. We can do it together. There was a lot of that, and it really built a sense of community when it came to gaming back at that time. And I do appreciate that. I do appreciate not having my handheld. And I really hate when games go, oh, you're struggling on this, boss. Would you like to turn the difficulty down?
Yeah, no, don't patronize me.
Right? I chose this life. I know what I'm doing. I can play games. Trust me. You don't know what I've been through.
That's a good point about the community thing, because obviously everything is online now. If you want to play with friends, you play online. If you want to play with people on the other side of the world, you play online. But all of your save data is online. Everything is online. The PS2, if you wanted to play with your friend, you had to go to each other's houses, and you'd have to bring your own controller, plug it into the second port or into the multi-tab, and you'd have to bring your physical memory card, the little black square that we all had. And sometimes you'd lose one, and it had your best save on it, and you wouldn't know what to do. And then other times you'd run out of memory, and you have to go into the little PlayStation black back corner and delete stuff in order to save the memory from this new game. All of that. It's a different landscape now. And obviously we have the benefit of nostalgia and all of that. And I'm not saying that gaming now isn't good. Gaming now is amazing. Obviously, it's a massive market. But it's a very different way of gaming to how we would game as kids, because it was very physical. I think is the best way to put it, as opposed to online.
100%. I'd agree with everything. I'd agree with everything you said there. You made me remember about memory cards. It's so funny how that's not a problem nowadays. Well, I
I
mean, with
know.
the PS5, you have SSD issues. Yeah, fine. Scratch.
Yeah.
Apart from that, like the PS4, we didn't really struggle with memory. Like, but that time of the PS2 and the PS1, I
Mhm.
remember I would either complete a game in one sitting or I'd get really good at level 1 of a particular game. And that was it. Because our parents didn't know about memory cards. Well, mine didn't. And it wasn't until the PS2 came that I was like, hold on, memory cards exist. Why? Why am I struggling? Why am I doing this
Oh,
to
you poor
myself?
child.
Yeah, for the entire PS1, the entire time I had a PS1, no memory card.
Wow, you must have been steaming through those games.
Uh, uh, that explains why I didn't beat that Yu-Gi-Oh game.
There we go.
And I was good at Dragon. Yeah, it doesn't matter. But I remember feeling like, oh, I'm putting in the 21st century now because I've got a memory card with my PS2. Oh my god, luxury! It changed the
And
game literally.
a lot of kids growing up now who are gaming, won't probably get the joke of I can't quit, mum. I haven't saved. I need to get to a save point. No, I can't get off it now because everything auto saves. If I fail a level, there's an autosave. It's fine. I haven't got to worry about it. Some games still do have manual save options, but there's still an autosave. If you weren't at the end of a level on the PS2 game, that was it. If your mum decided to come and turn it off or unplug or whatever, that was it. You lost all your progress. There was no other option. You had to get to a save point, and most of the time, obviously, you weren't allowed because you had to go eat dinner because it's your mum. So you lost a whole level's worth of work.
So those are very sad times. Very sad times.
Kids don't understand. They're like an old person now.
Yeah. You kids don't know shit about things. Back in my day. Right the floor with you. Another very interesting point you mentioned was the sense of community. And I think that is a lost art form when it comes to modern gaming because of the advancement of video games. Like,
yeah,
technology is so far ahead of what it was 20 years ago, 25 years ago when the PS2 came out. You've got the internet speeds are so much stronger. The storage capacity is so much better. You can play with someone in Brazil. You can play with someone in China. You can play with someone anywhere in the world. Like, that is not a restriction, as opposed to when you were playing back in the day on the PS2. It was kind of like, okay, who's the best out of your friendship group?
Yep.
Now, conversely, we've kind of brought that back because we have started doing monthly game nights. Yes, the Streamcast Club. The Streamcast Club have started doing monthly get-togethers. Boom, there it is. The next one is on the 4th of December, and we're doing a special Christmas jumper edition. So please bring your best or your worst Christmas jumper. And the best one, voted by a community, will win a prize. Don't ask me what the prize is. You'll find out. Keep it locked. PS2 games. Do I want to? FIFA Street.
Ooh,
FIFA Street is another one.
We're doing an old school.
Yeah, proper old school. Yeah. And I know there was a FIFA Street 2, there's a FIFA Street 3, but with some franchises, like The Hangover, the first one was the one, right? Sometimes it's okay to be one and done. And FIFA Street was that one for me, and it took an established franchise and breathed new life into it. It was fun. It was never seen before. It emulated what we did back in the streets, back in the cages, and I think because of that, it really captured our imagination. It really, like, oh, I can do this with Ronaldinho, I can do this with Rooney, and it really, like I said, it really breathed new life into a franchise that obviously is just a money churning machine with FIFA games coming out every year. And even though they weren't very good back then, FIFA Street was. And you had like game breakers, and I think there was the mechanic of you could embarrass the team so badly that they just walk off and you just win. They just rage quit. My brother and I tried to play the game recently, and I discovered that a lot of PS2 controllers don't work so well. So
Oh,
we
that's sad.
struggled.
That's
But
sad.
the fun was still there, like playing as Brazil against England. I think the nostalgia really carried a lot there, and I still do maintain it's one of the best PS2 games I've ever played.
See, I don't think I've played a FIFA game since like FIFA 99 on the PlayStation 1. I'm obviously not a FIFA fan, but I have fond memories of the cover. Or maybe no, I think we did then get 01, but that was still on the PS1. Yeah, FIFA 99 and FIFA 01 are the only FIFA games that I have ever played. And they were mini, janky little characters that you can't really tell what they're doing, but that's the fun of it. Where's the ball? Who knows?
I'm just gonna kick, and if you get hit, it's your own fault.
Yeah.
Recently, I played. I think it was a FIFA game. It was a football game on the NES or the SNES,
Okay.
and my God, it was shit. It was so bad that we would have throw-ons and we would throw the ball out of play. It was
Great.
yeah, it
That's
was
how games
really bad.
work.
It was really bad. Because I am competent at games, I was able to figure out how to do things like pass and shoot and stuff, and I won 3-0, obviously. But it just makes me think these games were really bad back then, and because there were fewer options and the standards were a lot lower, we just took what we were given, and we made fun out of those games. Whereas nowadays, we'd probably pick them up and put them down after 15 minutes if it was shoddy, you know?
Yeah. It's a shit game, I'm not playing it.
Yeah.
Another thought that I've had is I feel like the PlayStation 2 era was also like peak era for game adaptations of movies. So nowadays you don't really get a game made out of a movie unless it's a massive franchise or it kind of is an existing IP within the game world. Like I can't think of a film that's come out recently for younger people. But back in the PlayStation 2 era, we had Shrek 2, we had all of the Harry Potter games, we had the Simpsons game, which wasn't even based on the movie, but was loosely based on the movie. All of these sorts of games that existed in their own right as a games because they weren't just, here's the film, and now you play it on a console. They actually had some new elements added in. They were fun games. They were games that were created well. So I honestly can't think of an example of a modern game adaptation of a film, but it's usually just like, here's the film, and now you play the exact thing. PlayStation 2, it was, here's the film, here's a game we've kind of based around the film, but it's actually a game. And I say that because it's not on my list, but I had Shrek 2 as a fond gaming memory, because that was another great multiplayer game, and you kind of followed the story of the Shrek 2 film, but you kind of didn't. But it wasn't a bad game. It was actually quite fun.
That's dope. I didn't play that. I can imagine that would have been very fun to play, especially during the hype of Shrek. They've announced a new one, haven't they?
A new film, I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So that franchise took us by storm back in the noughties. Like Shrek 1, oh my God. We love that show, that movie.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Even the Harry Potter games, I think apart from 1, which was on the PlayStation 1, so Philosopher's Stone was on the PlayStation 1, I think every other game afterwards was PS2, veering into PS3. And it wasn't just, oh, you play as Harry and you now have to follow this route and go find Ron and blah, blah, blah. They were like side missions, as a normal game would. There are side missions and mini games and things you have to collect and all of this stuff that weren't just, oh, we need to make a game about a film, so here's something. It was actually decent games.
That is interesting. 2 games popped up in my head when you said that. One was, I think it's Fantastic Four. I think it's just called Fantastic Four. It was based off the first Fantastic Four film, where Chris Evans was the Human Torch. And I forced myself to like that game. It was bad because I was a big Human Torch guy. I thought it looked really cool. I thought it was a wisecracker, but mechanically, it just I remember it being very sludgy and very slow.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't get a lot of enjoyment out of it, but I was just like, it's like the movie, and I like the movie, so I guess I like the game. And a game based on the movie that I think I do like was Star Wars Episode 3,
Mm-hmm.
Revenge of the Sith or something. Really good movie. I like that one. And the game really did capture the essence of the movie in a good way. So they recreated a lot of the fights. So when you are Obi-Wan Kenobi fighting General Grievous, for example, that's a really good fight. And then of course, Anakin and Obi-Wan at the end is one of my favorite, I guess, fights in all of the movies. So having to do that fight in a game, yeah, I really enjoyed that. And it didn't feel like I was getting cheated. I don't know how it would feel now playing it, but I'm just going off nostalgia and memory.
That's the thing.
Really
I need to preface the fact that I mentioned these movie games with the fact that I haven't played them since I had a PS2. So since I was younger, so they might be absolutely awful, janky ass games that are not playable and they have the worst gameplay and all of that. They might be, but nostalgia tells me they were okay.
Yeah, my memory says good game.
exactly. Right, I'm going to consult my list because I had another one on here that I feel like is a,
of course,
what do you call it? Nostalgia trip. Hit me with another one if you've got one.
Yeah, I can do another one while you're looking up your list.
Yeah.
After Budokai 2 comes Budokai 3. So I'll talk about
Couldn't resist.
Of course, I've got to talk about Dragon Ball Z again because Budokai 3 is a better game. So I feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the best game in the Budokai trilogy. And I will not talk about Budokai 1 because that game is trash, even though a lot of people enjoy it and there's nostalgia. Budokai 3 is the best one because it fully captures the essence of Dragon Ball Z fights. With the added teleportation and Dragon Rush and the cinematic nature of the finishes. They did a really good job of making that game accessible to all sorts of fans, whether it's a fighting game fan or a Dragon Ball fan. You could get involved, and it's a much more faithful retelling of the story. So if you didn't watch the anime, you could play this game and get the gist of the story. And they also have extra characters like Bardock from the movie, from the special, Cooler and Broly and Gogeta from the movies, and then some GT characters as well. So there was even more to enjoy from Budokai 2 as a comparison. But yeah, that's definitely my favorite Dragon Ball Z game. I think it's been dethroned as my opinion of the best, but it's still a very fun ride, and I think I'll be streaming it very soon.
There we go. Again, straight over my head. Apologies. Maybe I'll give it a try. Maybe
I don't know what Uncharted is.
Yeah, that one's a little bit more disrespectful to say.
Okay, it's a running gag, and everyone in the community knows that I've not played the Uncharted games, and they're all like, "Andy, you should play on the Uncharted games. You should play the Uncharted games."
Yes,
I will, but they keep releasing good games. Go so Yote.
Okay, but the games aren't going anywhere. You need to go back a bit. Play some old school and then come back again.
For most of this year, a lot of the games I feel have been dead. So I would have had time, but I've been playing games like Cuphead and Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and I've been trapped in too many good games. Uncharted is on there. I think I've got it on my PS Plus library. I will play through the games. Is it 4 games?
1, 2, 3, 4, and then there's the DLC that kind of is its own game. Yeah.
The Miles Morales of Uncharted.
Yeah, exactly that. I think 2 might be my favorite, but I, off the top of my head, can't remember the difference between 2 and 3. So it might be 2.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll stream it one day soon, and you can get reminded.
Yes, please. Or because I'm not going to play the game anytime soon. The actual, hang on, where's it gone on my list? I think it was a PlayStation exclusive. It might not be. Burnout. Did you ever play the Burnout games?
Oh my god, yes. That's
that's a nostalgia trip.
Yeah.
I think they made them into arcade machines as well, but I'm not completely sure.
I'm pretty sure we played them on an arcade.
Maybe. Burnout. I never had a steering wheel as one of our add-ons that we had. Despite the fact that we had absolutely everything, we never had a steering wheel. Burnout obviously still good on the just normal controller, but another game also on this list with the story that I'm saying is one of my older brother's best friends when he was younger. It was from a very rich family, so he had anything that he wanted, which included a steering wheel. So I used to make excuses to go around to see his sister, who was my age, who was my friend. But, you know, as little girls, we're into Barbie's doll houses, dressing up, all that stuff. And then make an excuse to be like, oh, should we go in your brother's room to, you know, see if they're gaming or whatnot? And then would sit on the steering wheel for probably felt like hours, but it was like 10 minutes as a kid. Playing Burnout, because it was one of those clever steering wheels that had when you drifted it like locked a bit.
Oh yeah.
Oh, very clever. Absolutely loved it. And on the same vein, the Italian Job, the game, it wasn't a good game at all. It was actually kind of shit, but that was another game that was steering wheel compatible. And I had a mini obsession, no pun intended, a mini obsession with minis. And so playing a game with a steering wheel as a 12-year-old or whatever I must have been, driving around minis through London and Rome and downstairs and down these streets. Oh, could not have been happier.
And what I love about that is the fact that you have found entertainment in this game and the gimmick. And like in the modern times, if that game came out, we'd already see the reviews, and they'd be getting like 5s and 4s, and it would put a lot of people off. But
yeah,
going in with a clean slate, a fresh mind, and obviously a very fun mechanic in the steering wheel. Did you have pedals, by the way?
I want to say yes, but I can't remember.
Okay.
There must have been, surely, because it's a fancy steering wheel.
I remember a steering wheel and pedals in my childhood. I don't know where from, but we definitely played PS2 games on that. But yeah, like being able to play on the steering wheel makes a game that would have been mid or boring very fun, because you're more immersed in that game, and you didn't need a multi-100-pound VR headset to make that happen. Like sometimes just a really cheap gimmick can make a game a lot more fun.
And as someone that cannot drive, I don't have a license, I am not a driver, I still love driving games as a result. If you put a steering wheel in front of me, I'll happily sit there for hours. I mean, realistically, even if I had a driving license, I'm not exactly drifting around the streets of London. But still, put a steering wheel in front of me, I could make my own amusement. There's something very amusing about just pretending that you're in a car that's driving 200 miles an hour and drifting around a corner.
Yeah, it's very fun.
Yeah.
I remember loving the Burnout series growing up, 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, those are so fun. Just
classic crashing games. Yeah. I did think of one more on the vein of driving. So I think if you look at any list of like best-selling PS2 games or most loved PS2 games or anything of that type, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas is going to be on there. A lot of people love that game, have loved that game, still love that game. Obviously, it got remastered. I was not old enough to play Grand Theft Auto when the PlayStation 2 was its peak. But I was, weirdly enough, even though it was also an 18, maybe I also my parents didn't understand what it was, but they knew what Grand Theft Auto was, allowed to play Driver. So Driver originated on the PS1. Driver 2, I think, was crossover, and then Driver 3 was a PS2 game. And Driver 3 was kind of like a knockoff of Grand Theft Auto. You played a guy, I don't remember if he was in the mafia or just some bad guy, who Driver 1 and Driver 2, I think it was a driving game, you could only drive the cars, and the whole point was you had to drive away from the cops and chase after people and whatnot. Driver 3, they introduced the mechanic of getting out the car and playing as a person, similar to Grand Theft Auto, where you actually play as a character.
Yeah.
And I vividly remember playing that game, driving around the streets, getting out, getting my little pistol out, shooting all the bad guys. And there was an Istanbul level, an LA level, a San Fran level, and then another one. And I thought, I shouldn't be playing this. This is like an older person game. but then taking it into my bedroom, shutting the door, and going on the PS2 and being like, "Oh, this is really fun."
The secret dopamine rush. Like, ooh, I
Yeah,
could get caught.
shouldn't have been allowed to play it because it's exactly the same as Grand Theft Auto, where you can run over people, you can shoot people, all of this. But it was more acceptable because my parents hadn't heard of Grand Theft Auto. Sorry, of Driver, but they had of Grand Theft Auto.
Also has theft in the title.
Yeah, yeah. It's literally based on a criminal act, so I understand. What they don't know won't hurt them.
Exactly. You turned out all right.
Yeah, I'm not running people over. It's fine. Can't drive, remember?
Because you can't drive. Yeah, you didn't expose why you don't have a license.
Yeah, no one needs to know that. All needs to know is that I'm a marketing DJ girl. There you go.
Oh god. I could go on for hours with you talking about PS2 games. But I'm going to ask you one final question and then have you shout out your stuff. So the PS2, obviously the greatest selling console of all time. In my opinion, it's got the greatest gaming library of all time. Is that a sentiment that you would agree with? And why? Or why not?
So it's difficult. That's a difficult question to answer because I agree with you in terms of the gaming library. Like, as we said earlier, there were all sorts of games available on the PS2. It wasn't like now, games tend to follow a similar-ish format, as opposed to back then. It was whatever you can think of, create it. So I agree in that respect, but I think it's very difficult to agree wholeheartedly because obviously as a kids we have the nostalgia aspect and PS2 games were fun, but because of the way that technology has developed and the way that consoles are and the games that have come out as a result, there are games now that are just outstanding games that would feel a little bit disingenuous to say PS2 is completely better. I know those weren't your words, but completely better game library than like now or the PS4 or whatever. Obviously, not the PS4, but then now.
Why the PS4 slander? I actually think
I don't know. I actually really like
PS4. Is so strong. The PS4 library is so strong.
It's the PS5 and the PS3 that are the weak links, to be honest. PS5 has got a couple. PS3. Can you really remember any?
The PS3 was the last weird genre. So there was like games like Infamous and PlayStation All Stars and God of War 3 and Mortal Kombat 9. So they had games that pushed the boat out in terms of like concepts. But it is the weakest PlayStation generation, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone tends to agree with that. Not saying it's a bad console at all, because it did develop consoles as a whole within a generation. But yeah, I agree that it's maybe not the strongest. But yeah, PS2 had the most extensive library, but hard to compare because now we just have such impressive games. Like, they're not necessarily super wild and wacky, and there might be some wild and wacky ones that I've not heard of that could be recommended to me. They do tend to be of a similar format, and by that I mean like they're big games, they have big stories, strong graphics, they're 40, 50, 60 plus hours compared to the games back in the day when it was maybe 10 to 20. You weren't committed to them, you were playing them for a little bit and then you finished the game, you got a new one. So there's different aspects, and I obviously enjoy both, otherwise I wouldn't still be a gamer. But PS2, and scrolling through old PS2 games and trying to think of my list for this has made me realize that there was more differentiation between the types of games that we got as opposed to now.
I see. Yeah. Would you say it's more like a quantity versus quality argument then?
No, because even there were PS2 games that were just really good for the time, obviously. But there were more different types of good, if that makes sense. So nowadays you have your charters, like your classic PlayStation franchises are your Last of Us, your Uncharted, Spider-Man, God of War. I'm sure there's more that I'm forgetting, but like those are like your top franchises. Everyone loves them. They are key PlayStation games. And obviously I'm not saying they started now. A lot of them have started previously. but those are the games that people want to see sequels of and remakes of and variations of. And then below that, you obviously have other games that less people will play, but will still be played. Whereas I think PS2 had a similar thing where you had your key franchises, but they weren't as strongly pushed as now. And so the games that were underneath it still got a good amount of love, even though they weren't like your key PlayStation franchise. Does that, any of that make sense?
Yeah, no, all of that makes sense. Yeah, fair enough.
I get that.
Thank you so much, Gabby. I appreciate you taking the time to talk about the PS2 turning 25. Where can the people follow you? And please feel free to shout out anything that you would like to share with our community.
So I actually don't have a strong online presence. You wouldn't know by me in the last hour. I'm joking. I don't have a strong online presence, but I am a gamer. So if people want to send me gaming recommendations or argue about the fact that Gittery Man is not the best PlayStation 2 game of all time, they can find me on Instagram. My @ is just Gabby Marie, Gabby Marie Marie.c. That is just my personal Instagram. I don't really talk about gaming on there, but you are welcome to come and chat with me on there. And I do also have a photography and drawing Instagram. Currently has nothing on it because I archived all the content, but I can try to push that again. And that is Monocolor, MONOCOLORE. Well, it's really hard spelling out loud. Those are my 2 Instagrams. You can find me there. Otherwise, if you see me in the street, say hi. Actually, don't do that. That'd be a bit weird. But yeah.
Well, I mean, if someone was to say, "Hey, Gabby," it's Gabby, right? Yeah, I saw you on that Streamcast podcast. Yeah, you said something weird about Guitar Man being the best PS3 game of all time. It's clearly Dragon Ball Z, 69.
In that context, if you preface it all with that first, then I'll say hi. If you just come up to me in the street and say hi, I probably will walk away.
Yeah, that's fair. Thank you.
And there we go.
Again.
I'm Gabby.
I knew it was the right decision to ask you to be on here. And once you are done following Gabby on Instagram and supporting her, why don't you support us as well? If you're watching this live on YouTube, please give us a thumbs up. That helps us out greatly. Subscribe, because that costs you nothing. We're trying to hit 700 subscribers, and I think about half of the viewers on this channel are not subscribed. So please change that.
Naughty.
Please. Right? Tell them again. Join the Streamcast collective and help us hit 1,000. But of course, before we hit 1,000, we have to hit 700. So let us hit that milestone together. I'm going to be live in a few minutes playing Ghost of Yote. Thank you, PlayStation UK, for welcoming me to another game of hard fights and hell. I beat the Undying Samurai after like 100 attempts. But who's counting? But I'm having fun.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. Yeah, you can catch that on twitch.tv/StreamcastTV or our second YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/@StreamcastGaming. Or if you subscribe here, go to our main page. You can see the link at the bottom. And we also have our podcast going up wherever you get your podcasts. So this one will go out there in about 24-48 hours. So you won't miss any of the delicious PS2 content that you've received today. And you can also check out our socials, Streamcast_, Streamcast on Blue Sky, and the streamcast.co.uk for our main website. But apart from that, we don't do much.
And don't forget the games night on the 4th of December.
That's right. Games night, the first Thursday of each month. See you there. We'll see you there.
Smashed it.
Yeah, I'm a professional. Okay.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, thanks for agreeing to come on. Take care of yourselves, everyone. Keep on gaming. We'll see you on the next Streamcast, which will be in 2 weeks' time, the 24th of November. It'll be our final episode of the year. I'm going to get the Nerd Council's Timmy to talk about 5 years of the PS5 in excruciating detail. But until then, take care of yourselves and your loved ones. Stay safe. We'll see you on the next Streamcast.